done. That was great.
Ultimately, on the set, there was just this unadorned bridge. Yeah, you've got the castle behind the characters, but then above them, still in the frame, you've got this like smeared castle across the ceiling tiles.
House of Dragons is the long-awaited prequel to Game of Thrones, taking place 200 years before the War of the Five Kings. The focus here is the Dance of Dragons, adapted from George R.R. Martin's Fire and Blood, along with novella The Princess and the Queen. Given that the show Game of Thrones was a massive hit, it's no surprise that the creators came out with this type of series, a way to give fans a chance to learn more of the history of the original show.
It's a sequence that underwent many transformations. And in the end, I think what was most important about it, we needed to show Daemon fail before he succeeds.
You don't want the Bruce Willis action hero thing going on.
Talked to the guys about the tournament very early on because I wanted to bring something stronger and more powerful to support the Targaryen dynasty.
Jim produced this drawing of basically the Colosseum, and I said, "Really, Jim, have you got the money to build that?" And he goes, yeah.
But before we get into these moments, some trivia for you. In the series of Game of Thrones, what was the name of Jon's direwolf? Leave your answer in the comments down below and stick around to the end of the video to find out if your answer was correct.
I like the snake orrery. There was two snakes intertwined, and you see the globe in the middle. By the time it's all painted, you wouldn't know it was just polystyrene or insulation foam underneath it.
What makes House of Dragons so different from Game of Thrones is the biggest clue is right there in the name, dragons. House of Dragon apparently has 17 dragons, all with distinct designs. More dragons, however, means more dragon riding scenes. More dragon riding scenes means a complex combination of special effects and rigs to capture the actors flying on saddles.
The difficulty there is creating a tournament that's suitable for the stunts that are going to be enacted out there.
Especially when I got a call saying that they were making this show that was set 200 years before Game of Thrones, I was really interested.
When I got the gig, for that split second, you're like, oh my God, you're in Game of Thrones, it's the biggest thing ever. And you put the phone down, you're like, oh God, now I've got to do it.
Game of Thrones has such a history and a fan base and a culture that exists beyond it and around it.
Based on past episodes, it seemed like House of Dragon was equipped for this, but episode 6 proved otherwise. A feature in The Hollywood Reporter stated that House of Dragon would use the stagecraft technology, better known as the volume, for its dragon riding scenes. This technology, often used in Star Wars and Marvel properties, is great when you need to replicate a specific setting or light, but fans often criticize it for looking flat and lifeless.
Two popular houses, so they need this fast ship that can kind of go back and forth between. But it was exciting, you know, to build that. I think there is a lot of naval presence in this series. But it was a neat set to build, and it's one of those things where you hear they're building a ship on the back lot, and then you actually go and see it, and oh, they actually built a ship on the back lot.
It's unclear why this older technique was used. Maybe that the dynamics of including two dragons was too complex for the stagecraft set, or maybe it was purely a logistical or timing issue.
Probably one of the biggest challenges was where do we shoot the tournament and how big do we make it and where do we build that set piece that was obviously eventually put on the back lot.
But then when you go over to the director's monitors in Video Village and just look at what's in the camera, you're transported to where this scene is taking place and you're sort of brought into the illusion.
But real quick, make sure you guys check out our Instagram page linked down in the description. There's a ton of interview moments and memes, so make sure you check it out and give us a follow.
There's a wish fulfillment for an audience of things they want to see. We're not here to not give it to them. We're here to give them the thing that they want, just not in the way that they're expecting.
We actually get a behind-the-scenes look at the props from episode 5.
All these wonderful objects are an incredible tribute to the sea snake's life. It is a vanity, because of course it's like, yeah, I did that, and I did that, and I did that. And what did you do? Oh, you were born into royalty. Well, I made my stuff.
All these wonderful objects are an incredible tribute to the sea snake's life, explains Steve Toussaint. It is vanity, because of course it's like, yeah, I did that, and I did that, and I did that. And what do? Oh, you were born into royalty. Well, I made myself. And so there are these wonderful objects, mementos from his voyages, his legendary 9 voyages.
crab feeder is at the cave at the very end. Damon is driving to the end zone, and as he's doing it every day, we would redress the set to be further and further down there.
We had some interesting camera moves that needed to be achieved. We did quite a lot with Rowley's wire cam, chasing people down.
We really pointed a lot at Hearst Castle and what William Randolph Hearst built with his family's wealth, and then filled it with treasures and artifacts he was able to acquire, adds Ryan Condal. The Sea Snake did the same thing, but these were artifacts that he essentially won or purchased on his own travels, being the Sinbad of his time.
We talked a lot about that and what they should be, and we'd looked at various art exhibitions and pieces in the British Museum, and then she went off and designed her own pieces to represent his life.
Especially with horses, you need soft ground. You don't want the horses to hurt themselves, you don't want the stuntmen to hurt themselves. So that huge layer of mulch was there to make a soft landing.
And we actually get to see inside the first episode and what the creator's thought process was for creating this other part of the Game of Thrones story.
I love prologues. I thought to ground people in the new world, we needed some kind of epic opening that would give people a footing to understand where they were. And I just kept coming back to the Great Council because it was this really substantial event, significant event that had happened before our time, but really set in motion a lot of the things that we were going to see over the course of our story.
Smith was a guest on the Happy Sad Confused podcast on September 22nd, discussing House of the Dragon with Josh Schwartz. Smith shared the comedic moments you never see on the show. The Monty Python comedy trope had a lot of fun with medieval knights, particularly in their film Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Sometimes we use a rig called the Maxima. 2 grips run through the sand, and I just sit in a nice comfy chair and control the tilt and the pan. All those tools are at your disposal, and that's been really liberating.
I just want the camera to go through every single thing that is in that set. The detail is unbelievable. It's so beautiful.
House of Dragon is no Authorium, but they're dressed in similar armor with fire-breathing dragons all around. So Smith said, the cast often play Monty Python between takes. It's like you're in Monty Python at times, Smith said.
Set was beautiful. VFX was really prepared for the extensions, or, you know, what kind of shots do we want to do and what was the best way to achieve them.
Ready, and action.
It was spectacular to look through the lens and really see where the show comes to life and to give it a real look and texture. The real Dragonstone Bridge was completely impractical to shoot a scene on.
Of course, Smith can't goof off when the cameras are rolling on House of the Dragon. Diane has to be deadly and scary. Damon has to be deadly and scary. Smith walked through the scene at the end of episode 3.
Look what it takes over. And you get to swing a sword and be covered in blood.
I mean, he was slathered in so much blood by the end of that thing. He said it like took 2 days to really get it all off of him.
Yes, come on! That's the way to do it.
And for that, what we do, as we're shooting, we're pulling the extras away and we film the sprites from all sorts of different angles with all sorts of different actions. Cheering, crying out, sitting down, standing up, and then we literally populate them like little cards.
It was a long process. There was a lot of rehearsals involved here. It started out as a completely different scene, which I loved. I can't talk about it, but I really campaigned to keep it that way. But we ended up with this for a number of reasons, which I was still really pleased with. Yeah, there's a lot of running on the sand and rolling and fighting, and I love all that because it makes the days go quickly.
After he's chopped off the crab feeder's head, I thought, yeah, now we've got Daemon, now we've got Game of Thrones, now we've got that look that everyone wants.
It's just the right sort of degrees to get the sense of the boat moving and wind. And we had this incredible special effects of this water just being thrown over the side. So, you know, it's just a feat of coordination more than anything.
And for the answer to our trivia question, Ghost is the name of Jon's direwolf. Unlike the other direwolves found by the Starks, is an albino described by Theon Greyjoy as the runt of the litter.
All that size that we loved in Game of Thrones is here, but House of the Dragon is rooted in the domestic and the familial.
I hope fans will get everything that they got out of Game of Thrones and more. More dragons.
Good job. Well done, everybody. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
But what do you guys think about all this? Are you impressed by how they made this show realistic? And is it interesting to see these moments of just how they bring these scenes to life? Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Make sure you subscribe with notifications on for more videos just like this. That's it for today though. We'll see you all next time with a brand new video.
They can create a background which is 10,000 feet up in the air in the mountains, and so that gives them the opportunity to be really visually creative.